whether I am knowing a deep depression, or whether I am knowing an ecstatic moment of happiness, or whether I am knowing the experience of this room or the world. Each experience is lit up by this knowing equally. All experience shines brightly with the knowing of it. This knowing I, that I am, is the common element in all experiences, and is therefore not limited by any particular experience. If I can be depressed one day and ecstatically happy the next day, then neither depression nor ecstasy can be inherent in what I am. All thoughts, images, feelings, memories, sensations and perceptions are obviously limited. But what I essentially am shares none of their limitations. It is colorless, featureless, objectless, transparent, empty, silent. All these words are used in the traditions to indicate the non-objective quality of what I essentially am. And being without qualities or features, I have no form. Being without form, I have no limits. So when I speak of infinite consciousness, please don't think that I am referring to some extraordinary, cosmic, spiritual consciousness. I am speaking of the very consciousness, the very awareness that shines in each of our minds as the knowledge I am. That very obvious, intimate, ordinary I am is infinite consciousness. The only consciousness there is, seemingly limited by our thoughts, sensations and perceptions, and seeming therefore to become a temporary finite consciousness or self, the separate self that each of us seems to be, but never actually becoming that temporary finite self, never actually being anything other than it eternally is, infinite, self-aware being, or in religious language, God's infinite being. In other words, it is God's infinite self-aware being, the only being there is that shines in each of our minds as the simple knowledge I am, and that shines in the midst of whatever experience we are having as the I am that is having that experience. What I essentially am is the self-aware screen or space of awareness which colors itself with its own activity, and in doing so assumes the forms of all experience, and then loses itself in its own creativity. Awareness veils itself with itself. It is not necessary to go anywhere or do anything. It's simply to see yourself, awareness shining in the midst of all experience, to cease losing yourself in the experience. If awareness were to be found in some experiences rather than in others, then the great search would be legitimate. All there is to experience is the knowing of it. It is up to us whether we allow experience to eclipse or obscure that knowing, or whether we allow experience to shine with that knowing. Those are the two choices. Our life will unfold in accordance with whichever choice we make.